Hello, everyone. I'm Celeste Hudson.
Hello, and I am Kevin E. Smith, and we are two vets, one mic. We are back at it this week. You heard about me and my Air Force story, my transition in retirement, and today we're going to talk about Celeste's Air Force story and her transition out and how it's been for her. So I guess we can get started.
All right.
All
So
right.
I originally joined the Air Force out of high school because I didn't have any money set aside for college. I didn't really do very good in school. Matter of fact, I graduated very low into my class. I also got pregnant at 16 years old, so I had a young child my graduating year. With that, I didn't want to be on welfare, drugs, all the other stuff that a lot of my peers were. So at the time, the Air Force was the only viable option for me. Not that it was a bad option or anything, but I didn't join for, the reasons most people join, or the most common reasons, like, because for patriotic reasons, for education, to travel the world. I joined simply because I wanted a better life for myself and my son. I only planned on staying about 20 years. I always said I'm going to retire. Didn't think about going to school while I was in either. It's just, saw the Air Force as a job security, and that's all I thought about. And 20 years was planning on retiring as a E7, a master sergeant. Well, let's see, 12 years went by. I made master. Then I'm like, well, why not? I got what, 8 more to go?
Right.
Trying to make
What's up then?
the next one senior.
Mm-hmm.
At a maybe 17, I think. And then I'm like, well, I got a few more years to go. Why not try to make chief? So I made chief at 20, but didn't put it on till 21 years. But somewhere in there, I was able to, go to college. Got a bachelor's degree, became a dental hygienist, and got my master's degree. So I'd say, I went in thinking I was going to do just 20 years and retire as a E7 like my dad did, but I surpassed that. And I just kept going. And then, by the time you reach chief or E9 in the military, you seem to find yourself moving a lot. Those last 6 years in the military, I moved my daughter 6 times.
Oh, wow.
It's different schools, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, different households, it seemed like, too, because there was a marriage, another marriage in between there, a divorce and a marriage. So it began to really, weigh on her. And when we got to our final base, I said, I'm going to try it one more time. If they give me an overseas assignment, I'm gonna take it, and we can do 3 more years. But if they don't, then I'm just gonna push the button. And I could have sworn they were gonna give me an overseas assignment, because you never see Hawaii and 2 bases in Florida and Germany and Italy on a chief E9. I keep saying E9 because there's other military people, that will,
Mm-hmm.
but you never see those kinds of assignments for Air Force chiefs. So I just knew it was fate and it was going to happen. And then I, didn't get any of the assignments. And well, I guess it's my sign that I need to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person that's doing this podcast with me kept telling me for a few years leading up to it that, oh, you got to get out. So much better on this side. The grass is greener. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't understand. I'm taking a whole pay cut. I don't understand how it could be greener. Please explain this to me. And she really couldn't explain it the way I'm experiencing it right now. You really just have to experience what it's
I
like
agree.
after you leave the military.
Well,
So that is my story.
wow.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. So how was before we jump into you retiring, a little bit about your experience while you were in, right? I think we kind of maybe skipped over that when I spoke, but what's the skinny on your 20 2 year or 24 year? How long were you?
24. Don't shorten it, please.
Yeah, 24 year Air Force experience. How was it?
You know, for me, and a lot of people are gonna hate when I say this, it was great. Really I don't know if it was the universe aligning for me each time. And you've been around the past, I think 14 years of my career. Because when we met in Abilene, but it just
Right.
seemed like when it dealt with my career in the military, everything lined up right. Everything was always right, except for that last assignment I said I wanted to get. But everything with my military career was perfect. I didn't have anything go wrong now that I sit back and think of it. And if you ask anyone else, they would just say, you're blessed, like everything happens for you. You always get everything you ask for or do. Relationship wise, not so much, but military wise, job wise, it was great. I can't say I experienced a lot of heartache and issues that a lot of people did, even when it dealt with racial issues, because we had the George Floyd thing go on with us. We've had the Black Lives Matter. We've had a lot of stuff happen while I was in those last few years, COVID, and I didn't experience anything that would, really make me put a sour taste in my mouth with leadership or anything. But I also had a very strong voice. I was also very had a very dominant personality too. So sometimes that I believe that does play a huge factor into things and how you're treated. So I guess I didn't allow those things to come to my career.
Right.
Well, overall, it was a very good experience.
No, that's good. And I even said it in my retirement speech that I wasn't leaving bitter, and I was proud of it. Right. I think I left before I became bitter. It's like I don't want
Mhm.
to leave the bitter, master sergeant that everybody just knows should retire and hasn't retired yet. I don't want it to be me. So it's like, let me get out now before it turns that way. But I can see how it gets that way. And maybe that's a conversation for another day. But so what motivated you to retire and to make your transition out of the military?
I think that, I touched on a little bit earlier. That was really it. Like, hey, if I don't get this, and maybe it was being a little, spoiled of me or selfish, but I mean, I did my time and I was tired of moving my kid, and I just knew that, if we went overseas again, that's 3 years of stability, right? If I stayed stateside, I can leave at any year. So I guess towards the end, maybe I did get a little selfish, was like, okay, I really need to start thinking about my family. Most people do that their whole career and, while they're in
Mm-hmm.
it. But like I said, the military was so good to me. That's the one constant thing that was always in my life, that and my kids, that I was always doing right by it. So
Mm-hmm.
um with me not getting that assignment, I had gone to TAP before, maybe a couple months before, because I was like, If it doesn't work out, let me just start preparing." And this was my
Right.
second time, because they said you need to go at least a couple times before you retire, because things do change and there's always updates.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I think I went around April timeframe, and I didn't hit the button till June. But I went April timeframe, got some information, and I met someone on there on one of the virtual classes we had. I'm gonna put her name out there, Lauren McNilling. She was outstanding. She is the reason why I had a very successful transition, and that's probably another question. But
Mm-hmm.
she was part of a satellite, or let's say experimental, but Charleston was one of the satellite bases that received these Department of Labor workers that were helping in the transition space. And when I say she opened my mind to things and showed me everything that was out there, I was kind of like mind blown and very overwhelmed, but in a good way. But I knew from there, I was like, man, if I follow all this, then maybe it's not going to be so stressful, and maybe I'm not going to be depressed and go through a lot of stuff other people do. So
Mm-hmm.
going to TAPS early, listening and following up with people that were offering to help, kind of sealed the deal for me. And then, of course, me not getting that assignment, which I think I probably repeated that a couple times. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, did I answer that question?
No, 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 for sure. It seems like it was a combination of things, but family.
Mhm.
And I think that's definitely a good consideration. It's like how many times am I gonna do this, move around and then move around again, and it's always gonna be a better assignment and whatnot. So
And
the
you know
next
what? We loved moving.
question.
My husband and I, we live for it. We're like, okay, I don't have any loyalty to this house or this place. Where are we going next? But it does get old after a while. It's very tiring. We don't have the same furniture we've had for years. A lot of things get ruined or lost. So it was time.
Mhm. No. So when you said, "Okay, I'm gonna retire," what were your aspirations? What did you want to do?
What do any of us want to do? We
Make
think
money.
and we say we can do it all. We're jack of all trades.
Right.
I thought I was going to be I really aspire to be I really want to educate and teach, right? I really, for the longest time, I thought I was such a closed off, mean person. But the more I became more self aware, started to learn that I really do like to help people. I like to be that person with the informational power, and people come to me because they
Mhm.
need me, and I can give them all the knowledge in the world. And I thought I could only do that by teaching in an educational background in a school, right? So
Mhm.
my ultimate dream was to sit at home in my pajamas grading, school papers while I'm drinking coffee in the morning online, teaching. That was the ultimate dream, and that was going for. I was reaching out to my past deans and instructors from dental hygiene school when I was there. But then I was really looking at money too, right? Like once I reached out to them, they told me how much they were going to pay me, and I was like, I forgot. I know teachers, regular school teachers don't make, you know, a lot of money, but neither do college professionals either, unless you're, a professor and
Tenured, probably.
teaching, yeah,
Mhm.
multiple courses,
Right.
then there's that, right? So it was time for me to start looking to other things. I've never been one that has plan A or B. I usually have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Um, so I try to learn as many skills while I was in. I try to learn as many skills before I was getting out so that I can be highly marketable and bring a lot to the table. You know me, every time you talk to me, it could be 6 months, whatever. I'm always getting into something. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
trying to learn how to
Mhm.
do this. I'm trying to learn how to do that. It's like, when am
Mhm.
I ever going to stop? I don't know. Never probably. But I honestly still don't know what I want to do. I'm not doing anything that I thought I was going to be doing right now. I'm in finance, and I was a dental hygienist, dental assistant, and also have a master's degree in healthcare administration. So total career change, right? I will tell you, I am teaching, but in a different way, right?
Mhm.
Um, and we can get into that a little bit later, I think, with a different form of question. But yeah, I'm not doing what I thought I was gonna be doing, and it's okay because I really do love the place I'm at. I love the culture, I love the people, I love the pay, um, the benefits, but it's not what I expected I'd be doing.
I think veterans, we need to give ourselves grace. I think because we're so used to having it all planned out. I think as we transition and we get into a job, I think I'm on my fourth job right now. So I I think just giving ourselves grace to know to not have it figured out.
Yeah, but
Like
it
when we
scares me
first.
though because you're on your 4th job, right?
Mhm.
And I believe when I talked to you, you loved every single one of those jobs. I believe. I love the job and the company I am now. I'm always talking about it. And I'm scared that I won't be there because I feel like I'm gonna be part of that statistic too and go 3 or 4 jobs. Maybe I'm hoping it'll be 3 or 4 different positions within that job, or that.
Yeah, I think kind of like I think I was so excited to get the first job, and I'm still so grateful for it because it gave me what I need to put on my resume to get my second job. So I was so excited, and I made lifelong friends. I still talk to a couple of people now to this day. Shout out to them if they're listening. I won't say their name, but that was my first introduction to the civilian world, and I just could not believe, like, wow, this is nice, but I didn't know how underpaid I was, right? Like,
Oh,
so
mhm.
once that started coming out, and I was like, I think I'm way more competitive than this. And then it led me to, and then it was a little shaky. The culture got a little shaky, but the people were phenomenal. Then I moved to another one, really liked it, then got laid off, right?
Mhm.
And I love what I'm doing now. So I think knowing when to move and not having the same sense of loyalty that we once had, right? I don't have that same sense of loyalty like I had with the Air Force. If
Mhm.
I want to move because this is not serving me, I give myself permission. Now I didn't know my path was going to take this. Who knew that I was going to take this path? But and enough about me. But I just wanted to kind of put that in there. So my next question is, what how was your transition? Did you have any obstacles during your transition?
It's gonna be another one. No. I had probably and I know people probably get mad when I say I had sorry, the smoothest, probably one of the smoothest, easiest transitions you can ever have. So I feel like it was very successful, but I owe it to actually taking the steps that people told me to do, actually having a plan, actually listening. You'll be surprised. Actually, you won't because we talk to a lot of people that say they want our help and
Mhm.
they beg for it almost, and we give it to them and they never follow up on it. So
Don't do a
I
thing.
was actually one of those people that followed up. And it
Mhm.
still surprises me to this day because when I talk to a lot of the mentors and the networking I've done at these large organizations, and I tell them and I let them know what's going on, they like thank me. They're like, "Thank you for actually doing." You're like one of a thousand, really, Celeste, that actually listens to the plan, follows the plan, and takes everyone's advice. I didn't take anything for granted. Because
Mhm.
you don't know what you don't know, right? And because of that, um, that's why I can sit here and say I wasn't, I don't feel like I went through any bouts of depression. I wasn't as worried with money because I did have a job lined up right away.
Mhm.
I did do a skill bridge. I did do a fellowship. I had a lot of networking contacts. I had a lot of mentors. So like I said, it really was listening and following up with what everyone told me to do. If they told me to do this resume this way, call this person, I did it. And that's why I was successful.
Mhm. Why do you think people aren't successful? I do think it's rare for people to take the information based on my experience, right? Just talking to people casually, it's I won't say it's not a lot, but some people they get the information, but they don't act on anything. And next thing you know, they're retired, and it's just playing catch up. Why do you think we wait so late to take action on the information? Do you think
I don't
people
know
are like
why I
stuck,
can't really
or
compare myself
is
to
it
anyone else.
fear?
I'm sorry.
I said, do you think it's fear? Do you think it's people? It's like that freezing. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, so I won't do anything at all.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I know you and I know myself, and I'm going to tell you what Lauren told me and other people about myself. She said, and mind you, she's dealt with many other peers of mine, hundreds of people. She said that I was the most ambitious person she has ever met.
I'm not surprised by that.
Thank you, right? And then I said that to someone else, one of my other peers that had retired years before. And I said, someone told me I was, and she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I really didn't realize it. I thought everyone was like me. I thought when someone tells you to do something, or recommend something, if you reached out to them, if they gave you your time, you take that into consideration and you follow up and do something about it. Because I know if I need something from somebody, I don't want them to tell anyone else, hey, don't bother with her. She's not going to help you out. She's not going to do this. She ain't going to follow up. I never want
Right.
to be that person. So I've never acted like that to anybody else because
Mhm.
I don't ever want my name smeared like that. When
Mhm.
someone says, hey, Celeste should help you out. Oh, yeah, I know, she's going to do this, and that. So, and maybe that's the military ingrained in me. Like, hey, if someone tells you to do something, do it. And I don't think I'll ever get that out of my way of life, or way of thinking. But
Mhm.
that's what I learned about me. Now, after
Mhm.
she said that, knowing that she dealt with hundreds of people, I'm like, well, I guess, I need to. realize that everyone's not like us. And
Right.
some people have a lot of doubt, self-doubt. Some people really need that nudge and someone to hold their hand every step of the way. Some people just need to remind them that, hey, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. Some people have to put in perspective for them. So I don't know.
Yeah, me either. Maybe we can find some more out as we have guests. I'm
Yeah.
sure we kind of I know every all of our experiences are different. And I think we're going to listen to people that have maybe the exact opposite experience of us. And I'm curious, and I know a few, but I'm curious to know what the thought process is. And after they've reflected to see why was it the way it was, you know? So, how did the military prepare you for the job and the role you're in right now? Did the military even prepare you for what you're doing right now?
Oh yeah. Like not being scared to do anything. Just as easy as speaking, right? Me and you speaking, candidly and just being very open and putting myself out there, giving a presentation, running a team, asking questions of, members much senior of me, being able to write. I mean, just several things that you don't even think about, you'd be surprised.
Mhm.
Only because, where I'm at now, they'll say, "Hey, so and so, I need you to present this, or I need you to do that." Oh no. I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm not comfortable with that.
Mhm.
I need you to talk about yourself for 5 minutes. You can't ask me to do that. That's not in my." And I'm like, "Oh, we can't just
Mhm.
tell them to do it." No. HR. What HR? So,
Right.
a lot of times I find myself sitting back like, I'm just gonna be quiet because I don't know, right? Um, but I just caught myself the other day. Hey, I'll do that. I like doing that. I like presenting. Hey, I used to write curriculum. I used to do this. Whatever you need from me, I'll do it. Because no one else, they're so scared to, and they don't like to put themselves out there like we do. We didn't have a choice. Hey, you're going to teach this. You're going to brief this. You're volunteering for this weekend. This general's coming. You're going to speak in front of them. Okay, you
Mhm.
can't say no. So
Mhm.
just those little things that we take for granted that may make us mad while we're coming up. Now it's just like second nature. It's too easy.
Right, right.
Managing, leading. There's not a lot of leaders out here. There's a lot of managers, and they're pretty good managers too.
Oh, for sure.
And the way they speak is just so corporate like.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure when we talk to them, sometimes I feel like it's a little basic, but it's not. It's just you got the military way of doing things, and you got the civilian way of doing things, and it's kind of uncomfortable. And I guess maybe sometimes I get that imposter syndrome, like, man, should I be here at this table with all these people? But the more I sit and talk to more people, I'm like, oh yeah, I belong here.
Mhm,
So
mhm. No,
yeah.
no, I can totally relate to that. You kinda hit on it a little bit, but what are some of the biggest differences from the military to the civilian world? Like working in how is corporate America compared to the military?
They're very, very there's no transparency. There's no like, let me just tell you what's really going on with you. There's not that needs to be a conversation had with someone else. It
Mhm.
makes people very uncomfortable to have those conversations. There's no I don't know. It's just I can't really explain. I've only been in well, I guess 10 months is long enough, but just the way that people engage each other, everyday life is just different.
Mhm.
Maybe you can give a better example because my company they have this thing called J&J Nice, where everyone really is nice. I mean, if they accidentally say a cuss word, they're like, "Oh my gosh, pardon my French. Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to say that." And I'm like, "Stay away from me."
You know, and it's funny, you say that because I know I talk to people and they'll curse and like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "I've heard worse." I said, "I probably said worse." I was in the military for 21 years. Like, it's
Yeah.
not it's okay. I think the biggest thing that I noticed almost immediately is the lack of respect for time, right?
Oh,
You know, we were trained to, if you're early on time, if you're on time, you're late. So getting to a meeting 15 minutes early or even logging on a minute or two early in a meeting out here is why are you doing that? You're being a tryhard. So I don't think they see it as a lack of respect for time. It's just like I feel like when they say something starts at like 9:30, it's like a suggestion. It's not like set in stone. Like that means we'll get here around 9:30. That's one of the first things that I noticed. And some other things that you said, like the willingness to do certain things, not a lot of conversation about professional growth. I remember that being a thing at my first job, talking to some of my employees that I supervise just about career goals. Like, what do you see for yourself? And them saying, nobody really talks about this. Like, I've never really had anybody talk about this with me. And it was always on the forefront of our mind. So those are just a few things that come off the bat. It's just different. And then leadership versus management, the industry knowledge versus, we just, I feel like veterans have a lot of the intangibles. We might not have the industry knowledge, but we have everything else. So that's just a few things. And I know
Yeah, you said something about I didn't bring up the career goals and learning because that's a huge thing at our company. We even have a site called J&J Learn, and we want you to do this, this, and this. So I can't really speak on that, but I can speak on the logging on right when a meeting starts or meeting afterwards.
Mhm.
And I just started doing it. I'm
It's
like,
really
oh,
no sense in being
it's
early.
hard.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
the only one there.
Yeah.
Um, you're gonna be the only one there.
Yeah.
Well, I know we are getting close to time, so let me see. What is going to be the last question? So, what advice would you give to a veteran that's transitioning from the military, not even retiring, just transitioning period? They could be separating. This could be, they did their first enlistment, they're out, or they're at 20, they've been doing the countdown, they're out. What would you say to them?
Talk to me or you. Get signed up. Really, hey, see if you can contact someone that has access or the knowledge of all the available veteran resources out there. There are places that will pay for your certifications, and these are legit certifications like the project manager, PMP, the agile scrum master, the CompTIA, the Security Plus, cyber, all kinds of stuff. There are people that will write your resumes for you. There are people that will do interviewing for you.
Mhm.
There are people that will do pretty much anything you need that can help you with. And so there's so many resources out there. You and I are actually a part of one, which is 4 Block. It teaches you how to network, and it introduces you to all these companies, large corporations like Boeing, USAA, Wells Fargo, Uber, Amazon. I mean, you name it. And even companies you never heard of that are out there. They will bring these companies to you with veteran recruiters and civilian recruiters and share their LinkedIn with you, share their networking or their network with you. They'll teach you how to do your LinkedIn. They'll teach you how to negotiate salary. I mean, I can keep going on, but we
Oh,
don't
for sure.
have much time left. So
Mhm.
there's a lot out there. You just need to really pay attention to what people are telling you and really utilize those resources.
Mhm. Mhm. No, for sure. For sure. Great advice. Well, in the interest of time, because Celeste and I promised that this would be a podcast that's about 30 minutes long because we know our attention spans are not the same as they used to be. But this was great. So stay tuned for the next episode where we'll talk more about veteran related topics. And you may even see a guest, but yeah. So
And we're out, 2 vets, 1 mic.
stay tuned.